Hello, welcome to this episode of Xity. So, in today's episode, you will see in the video, it's about an informal chat that I had with Professor Martin Kruczenski. Many of you know he was my PhD supervisor at Purdue University. So we've been working together very well, and we just rehashed some of the things that we've done, not all of them, and we also reveal an important step we are going to be taking in 2023. So, to learn more about what we are going to be doing, stick around, watch till the end of the video, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Bye bye. Okay, so welcome to another episode of Xity, and today I'm here with Martin. Martin has been my PhD supervisor from Purdue, and after I graduated, we kept in touch. And when I came to you with the idea of Xity, you embraced it, and you've been helping me a lot with providing more advice. So I feel like I'm still a student.
Yeah, I guess you were a great student, grad student, and then when you start deciding to start these new projects, and although it's very different from what I do, I was very supportive and I'm trying to help. I don't know much about businesses, but I try to use what I know to help you.
Yeah, definitely. And it's been great so far. The experience has been transitioning from being a formal student of yours and now into this area, which is business. It is new to me as well. But the other aspect of our business, which is interesting, is that it has some technical challenges. We've been working and doing some physics calculations, for example, right?
Yes. Trying to use that to figure out how to go forward. And also, I mean, when you study and you have to do research, you have to learn from everybody. So that's something we learn to listen to people and take the ideas that you heard, like, for example, for the solar farm, having an anchor business where you can use it to for the main consumer of power and things like that, and we always keep an eye open. And also when you do research, many times you find that once in a while talking with somebody, even if they are not working directly on that, helps you focus, because you have to explain what are you doing, what you are doing, and then when you try to do that, you realize sometimes only then what are the main things, most important things, what you should focus on. And for example, now I'm working in some project, I mean completely unrelated, but I talk to some people, and when they tell me, oh, that's interesting, and I realize what things I should continue doing and what things I should forget. So I think for you, maybe talking to me, even if I don't do much, helps you, because you have to explain to somebody what you are doing, and that's different to explain it to yourself.
So Martin said a couple of things that I just want to pause the video here and reveal them in a little bit more details, because if you don't know the context, you may get lost in what he's saying. So the first thing he's talking about is that it is important for you to talk to people when you're embarking on a project like this. Talk to people who are not necessarily the most knowledgeable or the most experienced in this field. Doesn't mean you should not talk to those people, but sometimes it is good to talk to interlopers. Now, he considers himself an interloper, and he's correct. Business is not his area. It is neither my area as well, right? So we are both theoretical physicists, string theorists. It is the most abstract area of physics, and it is right at the border of abstract physics and abstract mathematics. It has nothing to do with business. So why are we into this, and why is he saying it is important to talk to him, right? It is because people who are often smart, but even though not experienced in this field, can come with that smartness and ask questions and begin a whole new path into solving problems in a particular field that the traditional specialists have not yet considered because they are basically accustomed to viewing the problems in that area in a very special way. And the set of solutions that may be the most optimal, or in fact, a solution to certain problems may not be found by using old techniques or established techniques. So, this is what he's referring to. He also talked about the anchor business to the solar farm. So let me just break that down very quickly. So we are planning to build a solar farm, and this solar farm will supply power to Xity. Well, actually, multiple solar farms will supply power to Xity, to the industrial zone, to in the residential community. But when we started this idea, we did not think about front loading the residential community. So the question was, if you build a solar farm, how do you make money from the solar farm? So you can start selling that energy to surrounding people, right, who live in the area, right? And because this place doesn't have a lot of businesses yet, you do not have a huge customer base, even for investors to consider. So how do you create what we call an anchor business for the solar farm? We got this idea actually from talking to one of the teams, the solar farm specialists in the United States. And when we consulted with them, this is what they told us about solar farm businesses in the US. If you build solar farms in rural areas in the United States, and if you cannot sell that power to the grid, the other thing you look for is an anchor business. For example, maybe a huge data warehouse that is located there that needs a lot of power. So you build a solar farm, buy that data center, and you sell all of your power to the data center, right? So if you sell maybe say about 70-75% of your power to the data center, that is your anchor business, because they will ensure that you always have a significant amount of revenue. And then the rest of the surplus power you produce, you can start looking for smaller businesses or residential consumers that can basically buy those. But first, you need what we call an anchor business, a reliable and stable consumer of power that guarantees you your revenue. So in this case, when we did this study and consulted with other people, which he mentioned about talking to other people as well, we found out that what we needed was to establish an anchor business. And the question was, what is that anchor business? And for us, our anchor business that we decided on was to build an ice factory right in the industrial zone of Xity. And you actually do much. So let me just put that on the record here. You do much. Besides the technical calculations, like you mentioned, the anchor business, we were thinking about building an ice factory, right?
Yes.
To be the major consumer of the initial solar farm we were supposed to build. And we were doing all of these calculations on how much energy, right, the ice factory required to freeze water into ice,
yes,
and how much like tons of ice we can make per day given our initial power supply. So all of that is physics calculations. We're doing those. So
yeah,
that is
we were also thinking that way, like if you have available energy and you have basically no other materials, what can you do that uses the energy and you can sell? And then we came up with the idea of making ice, for example, because you just need water and you put all the energy in freezing, and then you have some product that you can sell. And Liberia will be useful, I believe, I don't know, but refrigeration allows to keep food longer, and so it's all like that. But you start from the basic, like you have available energy, how do you use it without having to have some other supplies or anything that you need?
And for us, our challenge was unique because we were trying to balance the cost of building the solar farm with all of the battery needed to store the energy.
Yeah.
But since we thought and say, hey, if we don't have all of the money to purchase all of the battery, right, to store the power that will be generated by 1 megawatt solar farm, right? Instead, we can defer the battery part of it. But then if you have a bunch of solar panel harvesting energy from the sun, you have no way of storing it without batteries. So the brilliant idea we came up with and say, what if we take all of that energy, instead of storing it in the battery, which we don't have, we convert all that energy into a product, into ice. So
Yes, yes.
make
And
the
many
ice
times,
during the day.
many times happens. I mean, we saw then that other people already had similar ideas.
Right.
But in business, we also realize you don't have to be original as in research. If you have a good idea, if other people have similar ideas, it actually reinforces that, okay, you are going on the right
Exactly.
track, and
Exactly.
you just have to build things. And,
Exactly. But we thought about this in the context of Liberia. I bet we are the first people to embark on this in the context of Liberia. Then we saw there were examples of this happening elsewhere, right? And then that gave us more confidence and say, oh, actually, this is not so crazy, right? Because other people are doing it here and there, right? And so that's one way you've been helpful in this project, in the technical aspect, right? So you and I have gone back and forth during this calculation. Then we also encounter some technical, like engineering challenges with this model, right? For example, with the ice machines themselves, right? The surge energy that they need initially to kick off the freezing process, right? And how we stabilize that energy. So we work through that. We actually learn a lot of different things that we had not even known to exist as a challenge, right? And we still have problems in those areas to work on, right? But the other area that you've been helpful, putting the technical part aside, is actually the business part, because the questions that you asked me are not questions that traditional business people will ask every time I brainstorm with you. But I realized that every time you ask these questions, they are actually important and key questions that I had not even considered.
Yeah, because for me, like, okay, I don't know about business plans, I don't know about anything of that, but one thing for me important is how I'm gonna make money. So
Exactly.
I have to, okay, how you make money with this?
Exactly.
And then, okay, for me, I need a clear answer. Okay, this is really the income, and this is I can sell, and okay, I do not understand if that you are gonna make more money than you spend, but at least I see that there is a revenue of money, and I always tell you, okay, you have to make money in Liberia, otherwise you are putting all money yourself, and it's not going to work and things like that. So yeah, think only about the basics, but sometimes it's useful.
And sometimes I totally agree. And sometimes I get too excited about the value of what I'm doing, what it will represent, right? For the people of Liberia, for the society, right? For me as well as a Liberian. And I forget about the economic aspect, right?
Yes, yeah.
Like
it's not like I say make money for you to become rich or something, but because otherwise it will
fail.
die.
Yes, exactly. So it will
If
fail,
it
not be
doesn't produce
sustainable.
income, it dies, I guess.
Exactly. So so those are the areas where sometimes I do love to talk to you, because you kind of keep me to the ground, right? Like keep my feet on the ground, right? Because some of these ideas are lofty, they are noble, but if they are not self-sustainable, then I cannot succeed, right? Because I don't have
so you have to produce also ways for other people there to make money, so they get involved.
Exactly.
And they buy into the project. So they say, okay, with this project I can get income, and I can. That is, everybody wins.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Yeah. So I like this aspect, and every time we talk, I think we are on the same page on that, because we both want to make sure that whatever we are doing, like it's successful in the sense that it actually, like in practical terms, positively impact the lives of other Liberians. So if they invest money, they do make some money out of it, and they see that you don't necessarily have to do other things that people think are the trending way to make money, that are usually not the right way, right? But in this way, to do like this kind of valuable business endeavors and things like that, if you put your time into it, you put your effort into it, you can actually make money if that is an objective. So those are some of the things that we talk about a lot in terms of like opening up this opportunity for other people to invest and also make money along the way.
Like make money, improve their lives, and then people will support it because they will be part of it.
Right. So this part of our conversation is important. If you notice, Martin is emphasizing on me taking some time to pay attention to some small, low level businesses that can show a sound cash flow. The reason why that is important is because the whole idea of Xity is a very huge and ambitious project. As I'm talking to my co-investors and some of those who are looking and sitting on the fence to see how things will pan out in the very maybe initial stages of this before they can invest their huge sum of money, I need to demonstrate to these people that indeed this type of business works in Liberia. So for that to happen, I need to start demonstrating it at a small scale. And that is what Martin is referring to. So I always tell my fellow Liberians that when we want to do something, let's dedicate our honest and best efforts to it and execute it well, because we never know who's going to be watching. In my case, I already know some people who are going to be watching, and they are watching with keen positive interest. They are rooting for me to succeed, but I'm also hoping that my success will then translate their admiration into concrete action in terms of their investment into this business. And this is why when I go to Liberia, I will be looking for people who understand this concept and who are willing to bet and put some of their skin into this game for us to succeed. Just as I am doing right now, and I have been doing for the longest period of time, and we are just revealing some of these things now. But that is the idea that Martin is making here. So we have an entire industrial zone in Xity. And in this industrial zone, we want to build a lot of light manufacturing and processing industries. Now, even if it can be just a small little business in that zone that is working and functioning, and we see that there is revenue being generated from it, even without me recouping my investments, but once it shows that in a certain period of time into the future, it has a positive projected revenue stream, that is good for us. And that is what I'm trying to accomplish, at least during my first year in Liberia when I move. So we've talked a lot about getting things kicked off on the ground, right? And of course, I have plans now to actually quit my job at Amazon and move to Liberia. Now, these are not easy decisions, right?
Yeah.
They are definitely life-changing for me, right? Because it's like I'm killing my career in corporate America, in Amazon, where I have my future trajectory seems bright, right? And I'm cutting that short to take this risk. And we've talked about it, right? You and I have talked through the risk and things like that. But I think I'm at a point where, for me, there is really, I don't see it as just an option. For me, I just see it as the way that I must pursue this, because I feel like if I don't do this, right, if I don't put that much commitment to this work, it will almost be like I'm not too sure that this will succeed, so I'm not placing all my bet on it, right? And if it fails, I will also regret, because I will know within myself that I did not do my very best to make it succeed. So this is why I must do this. So we are embarking on that journey this year, right? So I'm going to be moving to Liberia this year. I'm going to be quitting my job at Amazon. When I get to Liberia, we start. From your point of view, what is the one thing that if we accomplish this year, right, or maybe within the next 1 year, beginning from the date I arrive in Liberia, that you will consider to be a key indicator that this is succeeding? What would be that thing for you?
Well, I go back to what I said. I think you have to create some revenue stream.
Okay.
So if you start getting, you can move to Liberia, and then after 6 months, let's say you're not living from your savings, but you're having some income, even if it's modest, then I think you can start building up from that. And
I
we
see.
were talking about ice factory or doing some land development, but in the end it doesn't really matter. So you have to be able to create some business, and your ultimate goal was to have an entrepreneurial site where you teach other people how to start businesses, and they have to believe that you can start a business in Liberia and succeed. And so basically you have to do that yourself first, otherwise
Then it's pointless to tell people.
we don't know if any of these ideas is gonna succeed, but one of them it should work, I guess. And I guess you are working on the land development that is working well, and the ice factory we still didn't start anything, but are making plans and everything. So or it could be any other thing, like you were saying, cold storage because it's near the airport, or having even a store where you were saying today you can sell supplies, or having a small construction company. I mean, anything that allows you to start making a living there and have a business that grows, and around that you can build other things. Otherwise, it will look like it's some charity work that in the end it doesn't have any stream of money going in other than some donations or something, and that's not what you want, I think. So.
Right. So you are saying your metric of success for
Yeah.
me would be to tell you that, hey, I've been here 6 months now and I have a small business, and at least I can buy my gasoline for my car from
Yeah.
this business. At least that should be your measure of success. Okay. I think I can do that. Of course, we are aiming for something bigger, but
Yes,
you are
yes,
saying that is just
absolutely.
the baseline,
Yes,
right?
yes,
If you
like
have
the
even a
initial-
small revenue stream, right,
Yes.
from some form of business, that I can show and say, hey, I'm at least even feeding myself from this business, right?
Yes,
Even if
yes,
it's not
it can be
covering
done.
everything,
You
but-
still have to invest your savings to grow the business, or,
Right.
but there is people in Liberia that is buying your product, and maybe you are not making a lot of money, you are maybe not making money, but you are in business, so people are buying your products and
Right.
are trying to do things like that. Yeah.
Right. And I also like the point you made that if I'm telling people that Liberia is a good place to invest their money and do business, then I should be able to demonstrate to them that I am investing my money and doing business, and the business is sound, right?
Yes, yes.
So if I can demonstrate that to other people, then they can listen to me. And at least they will have reasons to listen to me, right? Even if they don't listen, but at least there will be sufficient reason for them to listen to me. Because now I can show to them that I'm doing this business and it's working, right? And this is my cash flow, is cash flow positive. Yeah, definitely. I think I totally
Yes,
agree with
not
you.
like you recuperate your investment or anything, but this money coming in. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, we discussed that. Oh, I mean, that those are some of the things we talked about. Like all of my investments I'm making now,
It's
I
for
don't
the
expect
future, yeah.
exactly. So the things that I'm putting my personal money into are not things that will give me a return on my investment in even the next 5 years. But the reason why I have to do that is because those things are the foundational things that you put your money into. You lay down the infrastructure, you build the bedrock, and that bedrock is not necessarily going to return your investment even in the next 10 years. But those bedrock infrastructures are necessary for you to build the layers of services on top of them, and those layers can then return their investment in their investors' money, perhaps in 5 or under 5 years. But who's willing to make that bet to lay down the bedrock infrastructures that you're not going to be certain of getting your money back, perhaps ever, or at least in the next 10 years? And unless some people are crazy enough to do that, we as a society in Liberia, we are going nowhere, because all we will be doing is actually just making some band-aid solutions. Solutions that just wither away with the changing of the seasons. They are never lasting. And unless we Liberians decide to say, hey, let's give the space to the crazy ones and aid them in the process of doing that, we're not going to go anywhere. Yeah, so I think I'm doing this intentionally. So if I put a 10-year timeline on it, it will allow me to be in that mindset, that frame of mind that allows me to place more long-term bets on this thing, right? And also, one of the things I want to change in Liberia is the mindset that you can just get rich quickly, right?
Yes.
So if I go with that scene, if I'm telling people that this is not the way to get rich, it's not always, it's good to get rich quickly. There is nothing bad about it, but people should not grow up thinking that you can just do some funny, quick thing and get rich, right?
Yeah,
Normally,
yeah.
that's not the normal trajectory of people who get rich, right?
Yeah.
So I want to go also and demonstrate that the things I'm investing in are not the things that appear like I'll get rich from them very quickly, right? There are things that I don't expect to get rich from them in the next 5 years, right? I'm thinking maybe in the next 10 years, I would begin to look like I'm getting rich, right? Not even just getting rich, but just begin to look like at least I'm reaping something from these investments. So, yeah, for me, those are definitely some of the important things that I want to do with my investment in Liberia. But I also agree that I have to be a little bit mindful to make sure that at least I have some small early wins
Yes,
in terms of like getting something that is going that has some
yes, like proof that it can be done.
Exactly.
Like when you develop a product, you have to have something that works, and then you have to something that you can sell or things like that. But here, you have to show that the business can work.
Right.
Um,
So we went today and looked at a trailer, equipment trailer, right? For heavy equipments. And we both liked the trailer that we saw today. We did a walk around the trailer, looked how it functions, how it works, right?
yes.
We both liked it, and yeah, I'm excited about that trailer. I mean, it's something so simple and mundane that people wouldn't be excited about, but I bet if people actually see this trailer, they would know like why we are excited about it.
Yes. I never been in Liberia yet, but I imagine you go there, and if you don't have everything you need, it's a problem.
Yes, it is a
You have
problem.
to be very plan carefully.
Yeah, you have to plan carefully. You have to buy the things you need, and then you have to buy the backup for the things you need,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Like
yes.
spare parts and all of these things. And we're talking about some of those spare parts that we need. Like even the trailer, you were mentioning some hoses on the trailer.
Yeah, for the
That we
hydraulic.
should get pieces of those hoses and just give it. One of the challenge is I want to build a culture of honesty, hard work, dedication among my people I will be working with on these projects. And initially, I'm a manager at Amazon. I'm not the type of manager that micromanages people. It's not my style. But at the same time, there's certain level of detail you have to pay attention to in certain context that makes you appear to be micromanaging. And in Liberia, it seems like I have to at least initially, micromanage. It is scary for me to do. I don't like to do that because I myself don't like to be micromanaged, right?
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
when I was your student, you didn't micromanage me. You gave me a lot of freedom to do whatever way, pursue different angle of research, make my own. I made a lot of mistakes, right, and learn from those mistakes. You give me all of that freedom, and it is the same thing I do in industry at my work. But in Liberia, for some reasons, because of the human resource deficit that the country suffers, I have to do a lot of micromanaging. That is one problem that I'm going to be having in Liberia. I have to think about the big, but also about the very small. I wish I could only be thinking about the big, but at least initially I have to do those. Any advice on how I can manage that type of context?
Yeah, I think you need to find people that, as I was saying, not just works for a salary, but gets invested in the project and then wants everything to succeed. You have to find people that you can trust, and I guess that's hard, but some people will be there, I think, and I mean, there is a lot of industry in Liberia, so you just have to find the people that believe in what you are doing, and they can take care of things that are needed, and then you just have to let them work, I guess.
That is true.
But yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
much about
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah, finding the right people is the toughest part.
Yes.
But I think one, at least basic criteria will be to find, like you said, find people you can trust.
Yeah.
So if I can find honest people who are willing to learn. So the ideal case is to find honest people who are very competent. Then I don't even have to worry, right? And just
Yes,
let them
yes,
do
yes,
their
yes.
thing, right?
And also that, as I said, not only work for the salary, but that you find a way that they are gonna make more money, or they invest in the project, so that they are part of the project. And
So people who share my vision.
yes,
That's a great
maybe
point.
not the exact same vision, but that's actually useful, because sometimes what you think it should be might not be the best thing. But so if you have different similar visions together, you can find the right way to do things.
That's a great point. I actually don't want people who will be thinking exactly as I do about this project. Then they will become redundant,
Yeah.
right? And so I want people who can, even if they are wrong on some occasions, and I'm wrong also on some occasions, it will be healthy. But for people who have, at least we are pointed in the same direction, but how to get to our destination, they have different opinions of it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we can discuss this, and I can learn from them, they can learn from me. Those are the kind of people. So people with that type of shared vision is the third criteria: honesty, shared vision, and willingness to learn, or curiosity. In Amazon, actually, we have a leadership principle called curious to learn. Learn and be curious, actually, that's the exact name. So learn and be curious we actually evaluate people on how much they are willing to learn and be curious. It's something that it actually affects your salary at Amazon. Yeah, these leadership principles. So learn and be curious is something that we have as a principle. So maybe I can steal that from Amazon, make it part of the core qualities
No, you
that
have
I'm
to
looking
use
for.
everything, on these things.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. What would be your, maybe say, final advice to me as I go to Liberia to embark on this crazy idea?
Well, I think I don't have any advice. I would just say good luck. And I hope things work the way you want. And what I always saw in life is that if you put effort in something, you may not get exactly what you want, but you always get something. And if you manage to build something there, it will be good, I think.
Well,
You don't necessarily to, and I think it will going to work.